At Quiting University, a group of guys stand in front of a woman named Fang Quanshui. One of them asks her to hurry up and answer. Another asks her what a young pretty lady like her has to worry about. Yet another guy says that she's fantastic. Wufan tells her that he knows that she's confused, but she already stepped into the heart that he made out of 999 roses, which is so romantic. Fang looks around in confusion and asks them to wait for a moment. Wufan then pulls out a box with a ring and says that it's a crystal that he retrieved with his great efforts from the dungeons. He also mentions that it's worth 200,000. He had kept it so he could make it into a ring and give it to her. She cannot believe he went to the dungeons, as it is a place that mortals cannot go to. He then boasts by saying that no one besides him in the university would dare to retrieve anything from the dungeons. At that moment, Yin Yongtian shows up to the scene. He walks by the girl to where the roses have been arranged on the floor. He adjusts a few flowers while saying that the curve isn't symmetrical and the flower should be facing the other way. The group of guys wonder who this kid is and what he's doing. However, Wufan doesn't notice this and keeps saying that Fang should understand his sincerity. By now, Tian is done with rearrangement and stands up, just as Wufan holds the ring in front of him and asks Fang to accept his love. Everyone's confused as to what Wufan is doing by proposing to Tian. Tian then asks the guy if the ring is for him. Startled, Wufan drops the ring box and asks Tian who the hell he is. So, Tian starts to tell him his name, but he is cut off by Wufan saying that he doesn't want his name as he's in the middle of something. He then looks behind Tian to see that Fan has disappeared. Wufan yells at his friends for not keeping an eye on her and letting her get away. They try to explain to him that Tian blocked their vision, so they couldn't see Fang. Tian then says to Wufan that he just got the flowers arranged perfectly and now he ruined them again by dropping the box on it. He also adds that it's such a mess, which is why the confession was not successful. Yangshan bends down to arrange them once again but is met with a punch from Wufan. He continues to punch him until he's on the ground. He says to Tian that he must have wanted to die if he came here and ruined his confession like that. Tian tries to explain that he just wanted to help, but he gets kicked in the face this time. The other guys yell at Wufan to beat Tian up. A while later, Tian lies on the floor beaten and battered and bruised. Wufan warns him that he would beat him to death if he ever saw him again. One guy says that's too much of a threat and the other says that Tian isn't moving, so maybe he actually did kill him. Wufan says that he doesn't care because the world has already changed and the law means nothing to him. Tian thinks that he's about to die. He can't even move his fingers and he feels so cold. But soon, all of a sudden, he does not feel any pain at all. He sees some bright lights and wonders if it is a hallucination. Suddenly, a window opens up and mentions that the system is loading and detecting vital signs. It also says that the results of the biological investigation show that this is a native species of Earth with no capabilities. Soon, the host is confirmed and Tian is asked if he would like to be healed with the options yes and no below it. Meanwhile, Fang has gathered two men to help her. She tells them all about what happened. She also mentions the fight and how Tian got beat up, so she asks them to hurry up. When they reach the place, there seems to be no one there. The guy asks her if she's sure this is the place as there's no one here. Fang tells him this is the place as the flowers and candles are still here. So the guard says that they probably left and also there's no bloodstains, so nothing much could have happened. He then tells Fang that they should go back now and that if anything actually happened they would hear about it tomorrow. While addressing her as ma'am, she says okay and tells them not to call her ma'am as she's a regular university student now. Tian is now in his bedroom, thinking about the window that he keeps seeing. He can't seem to be able to get rid of it. The system says there's a notification and asks him to check it. Instead, Tian gets under his bed to see if the window still appears, and it does. Even if he hides under the blanket, the window is still visible. Tian is frustrated at this point. He thinks how pop-ups online close, but this one won't. Even when he closes his eyes, he can see it all around him. The system continues to bombard him with the notification message until Tian yells at it, saying that he would look at the message and asks it to stop. The message informs him that he has restored his body and completed system matching. He then takes a look at his status and skills. Once he's done with this, the system lets him know that he can close the interface. Tian closes it with a sigh of relief and sinks into his bed, thinking that it finally disappeared. But now his head hurts. He wonders what this actually is. When he was beaten up, it was so clear that it couldn't have been his imagination. He had seen the window at the time too, so Tian wonders if that's what rescued him. Suddenly, the window opens up again and informs him that there's 3 notifications. In annoyance, he asks the system to open it. Then, without even looking, he closes them. His eyes hurt too and he doesn't even want to take a shower. All he wants to do is sleep. He then sees a small circular window with the number 1 written on it. He assumes it must be his imagination. He thinks that it would go away if he sleeps, so he goes to bed. He sleeps with the window hovering over him, and a couple of hours pass. It's 2 a.m. and he opens his eyes to see that it's still there. He screams out in frustration. He doesn't understand why the screen won't close, so he decides to open the message and sees that he has been asked to complete one novice task. He is told by the system that he's currently in a state of low survival and his current level is 0. And his ability to withstand danger is also close to 0. So he is asked to level up immediately. Improving physical fitness would speed up the completion of tasks. Improvement of perception would help speed up leveling, and he would be granted rewards for completing novice tasks. Since he was young, Tian hated these kinds of reminders about incomplete tasks. And because messaging is too annoying, he doesn't have WeChat and also uninstalled QQ. But with this thing, he doesn't know where it came from or how to uninstall it. He then sees no other way out of this and decides to go ahead and complete the task. Weirdly enough, the moment he stands up, Tian can feel a strange power in his fists. All of a sudden, the power, angle, and posture of the punch seem to have formed in his mind in an instant. But Yangshan doesn't care about upgrading even a bit, but he won't let that incomplete message keep showing up in front of his eyes. He vows to never allow it. By the time he is done, drops of sweat fall to the ground. He checks the window to see how he did, and it shows that his left uppercut skill is at 10%. It also asks him if he would like to continue. Tian chooses to continue as he hates to leave things half done. If he can't complete a task, he wouldn't start it at all. And if he has already started it, he would follow through with it till the end. The next day at Chunzheng High School, Yi tells Tian that he scored 0 in the English test again. She demands to know why he won't study well in English class. Yangshan says he wants to study math and doesn't have time for English. She argues that he already scored 149 and is at the top of the class in math. Yangshan says it's still not the maximum score, so it doesn't matter if he's at the top of the class. He says he would only be satisfied if he reached the maximum score. She then says that if he continued like this, the English teacher would annoy him. So she offers to help him study English at her house after school. He says there'd be no need of that, as he doesn't want to study any other subjects until he gets a perfect score in one subject. Later, a punching bag is delivered to Tian's house. The delivery guy asks him if he would like it installed as well, as they provide installation service. Tian tells him that he's not used to people entering his home, so he would do it himself. Once the punching bag has been set up, Yangshan trains by punching it. 3 days later, more punching bags have been installed in his room and his knuckles are bruised. But Yangshan feels satisfied as it should have reached 100% now. But when he goes to check the status window, his left uppercut skill is at 300%. Since these requirements have been now completed, he is asked to reach the 10th stage of mastery to move on to the next level. This leaves Yangshan mad that even 300% still isn't enough. Later, Yi knocks on his door and asks if he's alright as he hasn't been to school for the past few days. He opens the door to see an angry Yi. She then asks him why he looks so pale just as he stumbles forward and falls on her. She immediately catches him and he mumbles that he's very hungry. So, Yi takes him to a restaurant. There, she notices that even when he's starving, he is still so organized. When he's done arranging the fries in a row, he starts to eat them one by one, in order. Yi watches this thinking he's still the same. After he finishes the food, he thanks her for taking him out to eat because otherwise he would have starved to death. So he asks her how he can repay her. She says they're close enough to not worry about that. Tian says he hates to owe people, so she thinks about what she could ask him. That's when she hears someone playing on the claw machines nearby. Yi tells him that if he was able to catch something for her, she would consider it repaid. The girl who is playing the claw machine is angry as the toy keeps dropping. She notices Tian walk by and thinks to herself that he has such a powerful aura, so he must be a master. Tian plays the game and manages to grab a toy on his first go, but it soon drops. The girl feels disappointed at this, but Yi asks her to keep watching. 5 minutes later, Tian has arranged the toys in one row. The girl comments that there's no point of arranging it if he can't even get it out. Then, Tian asks Yi which one she likes. She says she likes all of them. So, Tian picks up a doll from the pile, and when it drops, it pushes the other toys that he arranged and all the toys come out with it. Both the girls are impressed by his skills. Yi keeps one of the dolls for herself and gives the rest to the other girl, who happily accepts them. Later, as they walk home, Yi tells Tian that she heard that he got beat up by Wufan. So she asks him if that's the reason he hasn't been to school recently. He tells her that it is nothing and asks her not to overthink it. Once they reach her place, he tells her that he would see her in school tomorrow and wishes her a good night, while YY side-eyes him suspiciously. The next day, Woofen's guys tell him that the kid he beat up didn't actually die, but he hasn't been to school for the past couple of days. Woofen says that it was a smart choice for him to not come to school, and if he saw him here again, he would beat him up. Soon, YY shows up and warns Woofen to not trouble Tian ever again. The guys immediately burst out laughing, saying who does this girl think she is to warn them. Woofen tells her that the consequences of threatening him would be severe. He then says that since she's cute, he would forgive her now, but for that, she would have to go and play with them for a little while. Tian walks into school and his schoolmates around him whisper amongst themselves, saying that he's the guy that pissed Woofen off and got beaten up. Soon, he is given a notification which says that the novice task is now complete. So, as a reward, his perception and physical fitness have been increased by 1%. He also receives beginner gloves with an attack bonus of 5 as reward. At that moment, Woofen walks into the bathroom too. He tells Tian he's been thinking about him but didn't expect to see him here. Out of the corner of his eyes, Tian notices a doll in one of the guy's hands. He asks him where he got that doll from. So, Woofen says that he came here to discuss about the doll with him. That's when Tian realizes that it's YY's doll. Woofen then throws a punch at Tian, who dodges it by moving his head. He keeps dodging all of Woofen's punches and gets ready to fight back. He takes a fighting stance and Woofen gets angry that Tian wants to fight him. So he sends his guys to get him and kill him. But Tian hits Woofen right in the face with complete force, which causes him to fall back. He goes to hit the others too, saying how they could hurt YY. Soon, the other guys also end up on the floor and Tian says that YY better be alright. Woofen starts to say that Tian misunderstood the situation about YY, but he is unable to finish his sentence as he drops back to the floor in exhaustion. YY sits in class, thinking about how she could lose the doll. Another classmate asks her what happened and she replies that she lost a doll which was important. She continues to think where it could have gone as it was in her bag when she came to school. Another student enters the class and says to YY that someone is looking for her. She sees Tian and runs to him happily as he came looking for her. Outside the class, she asks him if he came here for something. He tells YY that he heard that she went to find Woofen, so he was worried about her. He sees that she's alright and says that's good. He then gives her the doll and tells her to not lose it so easily. YY beams with happiness as soon as she sees the doll. Tian tells her that if she loses it again, he wouldn't catch any more for her. She jokingly calls him a meanie. Tian says he would see her later and walks off. Tian has another notification which says that he has leveled up. His next task is to complete intermediate combat training. Tian is exasperated that there's more fighting involved. At the sports center's boxing gym, Tian trains hard. These combo attacks are a lot harder than the beginner move he was taught, but his left uppercut is already at 300% proficiency. If he kept training the right hook, then his combo punches would improve fast. Because he could assume things like this, his perception skill increases and so does his power. Tian notices that his strength has already been regained and his perception skill is increasing as well. And he's become so concerned about his stats lately, so he thinks that his OCD is increasing too. But no matter what that purpose is, he would rather die than not complete his progress. A few girls who are also in the gym notice Tian and talk about how he's been here all day and night for 3 days. One of them says that she likes guys who are so handsome and focused like him. Meanwhile, another guy, Kwaiting's strongest boxing champion, Senshi, who is also training, notices that Tian is getting all the attention and feels jealous. While Tian continues to punch the punching bag, Senshi catches it and says that his combo technique is off. He says he's trying too hard and that he would teach him how to box properly. Tian's beginner right hook is at 70%, so he tells Senshi to not waste his time as he wants to keep training. Senshi gets angry that Tian refused and says that he would give him what he deserves. In the piano room, Fang is playing a tune on the piano. Ben enters the room and tells her that they found something, while calling her his ma'am. She tells him not to call him that. He then tells her that they found the guy that Woofen beat up and that his name is Yinyong Tian. Fang is surprised and asks where he is. Back in the gym room, Senshi asks Tian if he thinks he's not enough to guide him. So, Senshi asks him to duel with him so he could see his true strength. Tian asks him if he wants to fight him and Senshi replies that he doesn't want to fight. He just wants to train him. By now, people have gathered around them to watch the fight. They all wonder who Senshi's opponent is and one girl says that he's the weird guy with OCD. Fang also walks in to see what all the fuss is about. She wonders why Tian is challenging Senshi. She thinks that he might have a death wish. Fang thinks that Tian was like this even when he helped her out before. He was clearly kind and with good intentions, but his personality was too direct and stubborn, so he gets into trouble easily. Senshi notices that Fang is also here, so he decides to put on a show for her. Senshi raises his arm to throw a punch, and when he does so, his punch is blocked by Tian. Senshi is shocked as it feels like he just punched cotton. So now, invulnerability has been activated and Tian's combo attack progress has reached 8%. Tian says that combat training could level him up so fast, so now he would change his attention to Senshi. Senshi wonders what he's even talking about. The girls watch in confusion, thinking that the atmosphere is weird. As far as Fang is aware, Senshi's all-out punch can kill a cow, but this guy took it and even taunted him, so he must have some power. Then, a burly man named Bioji walks into the gym room saying that it sounds lively in here. Everyone is stunned at this sight of him. He then says that he would like to join the fight too. One day earlier, Wufan had gone to Bio and asked him to help him. Bio asks him what he would give him in return. He says he would offer no less than this ring to honor him. If Bio helped him, the ring would be his. Bio notices the ring and asks Wufan how he got the demon crystal, as that's something that's hard even for him to obtain. He asks Wufan if he's trying to fool him or lie to him. Wufan tells him he spent 200,000 in the black market for this and bought it especially for him. He also says that he heard somewhere that it came from the Fang family. Bio lets out loud laughter and says that he is so honest. Tempted by the ring, Bio agrees to Wufan's demands and says he would do it. The girls discuss that they should probably call security now, as these people are from outside school, referring to Bio and his guys. Senshi watches the girls freaking out and thinks that at times like this, he would be the one to protect people. So he asks Bio what his issue is and says they shouldn't involve other people. Bio, however, pays no attention to him and asks where Yinyang Tian is. He tells him that someone paid 200,000 for his life. Tian appears and asks him why he's looking for him. He also asks Bio if he's off-campus staff and why he's showing off here. So, Bio says that he honestly didn't want to come here, but he couldn't resist the demon crystal. Fang immediately recognizes the ring, and Tian understands that Wufan sent these guys as well. Bio asks his guys to surround Tian and not let him escape. Once he's surrounded, Senshi says that this is a school, so he wouldn't allow him to hit the students. He tells him that if he wanted them, he'd have to go through him. And before he can react, Senshi receives a hard kick from Bio, while the other watch in horror, thinking that it could kill him. Senshi is now on his knees, coughing and struggling to breathe, and Bio aims to punch him, but before he can do so, he is stopped by Tian. Tian reminds Bio that he's not here to fight with Senshi, and asks him why there's always people looking for him. He suggests that they should just sit down and talk. Bio laughs and asks if he's scared. He then pulls out a stick and tells Tian to ask the stick if it wants to talk. He tries to attack Tian with the stick, but he immediately moves away skillfully. Bio tries again, and he's unsuccessful yet again. Tian keeps dodging, thinking that this isn't too hard. Bio is frustrated that Tian is pretty quick. He screams out in anger and says that he would make Tian cower. He presses on one end of the stick, making it extend, as everyone watches feeling shocked. The stick has extended into a sharp-edged spear. Fang asks Ben if Bio is a hunter. Ben tells her that he's certainly got fluctuating powers, but his awakening ability shouldn't be perfect. Several years ago, the world suddenly underwent a change and monsters started appearing. Some humans started to awaken superpowers and fought the monsters. They were called hunters. For most people, the ability can only be awakened once, and the level of ability is split into tiers such as S, A, B, C, D, E, and F. Among them, the S-tier hunter can become supreme rulers of mankind, able to surpass any other ruling classes. The world returned to the era of martial arts. Bio should have been a hunter. A wandering warlock had once told him that if he improves his foundation, he could surpass the boundaries of the hunter. But Bio was too weak and ended up here. But even then, the power of the awakening has given him the peak physique of a mortal and given him the ability to strengthen his weapons. Bio charges at Tian with the twisting dragon spear. Senshi is taken aback as he had heard of Bio's power, but he never expected this. He also thinks that's why he couldn't stand against him. So he wonders how Tian is able to. He then notices the spear getting closer to Tian and yells at him to run. Tian moves away from the path of the spear and hits it on its side, causing it to fall out of Bio's hands. Bio is shocked that he was able to pull this off, and Senshi wonders how he learned his technique. He lands another punch on Bio, and because of this, his intermediate combo attack is complete. After a few more punches to his jaw, Tian's intermediate combo technique reaches 200%. His perception and physical fitness also increase. Another combo attack from Tian sends Bio flying backwards. His intermediate combo technique reaches 300%. Tian then asks if there's anyone else who wants to fight him. Tian sneezes and rubs his nose, thinking he has been cursed. He notices that the bonus of the actual combat is huge. When he hit Bio with his attacks, his stats leveled right up to 300%. But then he received a new task to level up his sidekick. He is used to it, so he thinks that he should be able to complete it fast. Also, he has noticed something important recently. His perception is much higher than normal people. He thinks this is probably the truth behind his OCD. The stronger his OCD, the stronger his perception and the faster he levels up. He also discovered that by using his perception, he could spy on a perfect status novice skill and learn it instantly, like he did with Senchi's punch before. With this perfect status, his mastery could increase exponentially, and there seems to be no upper limit to it, so he can exceed 100% several times. If he kept practicing, he could even exceed 300%. Tian does not know what this system is or what it wants from him, but he believes that if he keeps completing tasks, it would eventually run out of them and he would be free of the pop-ups and free to live. So to get this job done, he would have to prepare his tools. Right now, he would need to use his perception ability to spy on different perfect status abilities he sees in the world. Then, he could complete the tasks faster. Tian keeps himself busy every day by waking up at 5 AM and training until 8 AM when he takes a shower. He then cleans the house and ticks off items on his to-do list. The list consists of reminders for him such as turning off the water heater, closing the windows, turning off the kettle, etc. Before he leaves from his house to go to school, he completes these tasks. As he heads to the elevator, an old lady advises him to make sure to always lock his door before he leaves for school. Hearing this, Tian is mortified and runs back to see if his door is locked or not. When he reaches school, Tian is exhausted, but he notices Senchi and some guys walk towards him in an intimidating way. Tian gets angry and wonders what Senchi wants, but they all bow to him and wish him a good morning while addressing him as boss. Senchi informs him that the boxing club members all unanimously voted to make him their new leader. He tells him that he hopes that he always leads them in the world of fighting. All the club members cheer and celebrate having a new boss. They call out to Tian in unison and ask him to teach them. Tian asks them to leave him alone and runs away from them. YY spots Tian and says hi to him, but Tian is busy running away from the boxing club. Other students watch this and wonder who Tian is because he has such a huge following. A girl says that he must be the descendant of the 4 families that she has heard about. Tian finds a place to hide and tries to catch his breath. That is when 3 men walk up to him and ask him if he's Yin Yang Tian. The one in the middle says that they are the messengers of the Fang family, and in this area of S City, they represent the Awakening Association. They had heard that Tian is a newly awakened hunter, so they invite him to join the Fang family training group, to enter the group of their hunters. In order to retrieve treasures from the dungeons and keep themselves safe, the Fang family's army is made up of hunters. Tian is confused about what a training group is and what hunters do. The man says that he knows Tian would have a lot of questions, so he says that, in this world, the line between ordinary people and hunters is like the line between heaven and earth. Since the change happened several decades ago, ordinary people have been living in a false world created by the government, thinking the world is peaceful and calm, just like Tian before he was awakened. But if he enters the ranks of the hunters, he would know that it's not true. Tian asks him what he would get in return for joining his training group. The man motions to the man beside him, who opens a box to reveal an array of color-coordinated throwing knives. Tian looks at it in admiration. The color is in a perfect gradient according to size and it looks incredible. This feels like OCD heaven to Tian. He grabs the box from the man saying that he does not use throwing knives, so the man asks him to give it back. When Tian does not reply, he asks him if he should take it as a yes. However, Tian says he would think about it and walks away with the box. Suddenly, he feels like he stepped into a strange energy. He is warned by the system that there are energy fluctuations around him, so he should prepare for combat. Feeling surprised, Tian wonders if there is an enemy nearby. He then sees a man standing not too far away. Tian assumes it might have something to do with him. The next moment, a serpent appears before him. Holding a pocket watch, the man says that the test begins now. The creature emerges from the ground, leading to Tian falling back and dropping the box of knives. It is a giant python, which is a D-tier creature. Its ability is Venom Attack. The venom is acidic and highly corrosive. Tian runs away from the giant python until he smacks into a barrier. He is notified that it's a man-made barrier and only a B tier or stronger skill would allow him to pass through it. Tian now faces the python and he wonders how a creature like this could even exist. He thinks that he must be dreaming or this is just a hallucination. The snake hisses at him and releases a poison that stinks. The poison triggers beginner gloves, invulnerability. Soon, the giant python is within inches of Tian's face. But before it can strike him, Tian escapes. The man who set all this up thinks that Tian appears to be in school, but he is actually in the Magic District number 173, which is dozens of miles away. And the giant python in front of him is very much real. If Tian relaxes even for a moment, he would be eaten. He thinks that it would be interesting to see how long Tian would last. As he keeps dodging all of the python's attacks, Tian thinks that he can't go on like this. He would have to fight back. So he runs towards it and smacks the giant python. However, he ends up hurting his own hand instead as the snake's skin is very tough. His 300% attack did nothing to the snake, and its venom acts as a good shield for itself too, so he runs away because he has no weapons with him, until he spots the throwing knives he had been given earlier. He immediately jumps down to pick one up. He is tired of running, so he decides to try using the knives. He jumps closer to the python and attempts to stab it, but the scales of the snake are no match for the knife. The man watching this thinks how Tian is too soft and not strong enough. He assumes that Tian would be an F-tier hunter at best or maybe even lower. He is surprised that he was handpicked by the representatives as he seems mediocre. He says it would not be his responsibility if Tian decides to walk away. Meanwhile, Tian is not able to break the python's defense no matter how close he gets. At first he was terrified, but now he just wants to fight this snake. He thinks of using his perception skill to find the python's weakness, so he tries to attack the snake in the same place he had stabbed it before and it works. The snake then twists itself and tries to attack Tian. The man immediately shoots up and pushes Tian away and asks him to watch and learn. Within moments, the giant python has been sliced into pieces by the man after he uses his powers. Tian can't help thinking how strong this man is. He then notices the knives scattered on the ground and picks them up. The man appears in front of him and introduces himself as Fang Dun from the Fang family. He says the Fang family is the birthplace of the strong and the nurturing place of the supernova. And as they get stronger, they get more responsibilities and fight creatures like this every day. He asks Tian what he thinks, while thinking that he would definitely reconsider this because of his use of a D-tier snake. Tian notices that Fang Dun has perfect status, so he immediately tells him that he wants to catch them all too and be the best. Tian thinks that if the Fang family is a place of hunters and many strong people gather there, so it should be a good place to see perfect status techniques. And then he should be able to learn from them and level up fast and get rid of the system easily. Fang Dun is stunned upon hearing his reply as he had expected Tian to back out. YY worriedly goes around the campus looking for Tian. She then spots him and is surprised to see him talking to Fang Dun. Fang Dun tells Tian to not forget about tomorrow and leaves. When Tian sees YY, he asks her what she is doing here. She says she was looking for him and asks if Fang Dun was troubling him. Tian says he's fine and YY argues that his clothes are dirty. He tells her that he fell and Fang Dun helped him up. She immediately rushes to him to see if he's injured. A few minutes later, after she is done checking, she asks him why his heart is beating so fast. She asks if that means he has internal injuries. Tian says in his mind that it's because she's so close to him. He hates being too close to people. He always preferred to stay a meter away. Just thinking about being near someone else's breath made him crazy. He feels suffocated just thinking about it. But when he looks at YY up close, she does not seem dirty like most people. She looked pure to Tian. She tells him to not be scared and let her know if something is bothering him. He tells her that a girl like her shouldn't spend her time worrying about others and that he could deal with his own problems. She realizes that Tian is in his complaining mode again. Tian then lectures her about how she went up to Wufan, which was very dangerous. He asks her what she would have done if he tried to fight back. He then asks her how she knows about the Fang family as she had just mentioned it to him. Meanwhile, someone hides behind a wall, listening to their conversation. YY tells Tian that she knows about the Fang family because they are quite famous. The Fang family is one of the top 4 clans. Located in City C, it has become a supplier of dungeon resources for the Ministry of Defense of Country X. It is a force to be beckoned with, controlling 10% of the dungeon resources of Country X. Fang Quanshui is welcomed and greeted by men as she steps out of her car. When she enters the building, she is greeted by more staff, who bow down to her. Fang Dun spots her and thinks that she looks very elegant and like a goddess today. Fang Quanshui asks Fang Dun if he met Tian and she also wants to know what he said. Fang Dun tells her that his power is mediocre and not worth her attention. He says that if she wanted to meet someone interesting, he would introduce her to some of the newcomers who are pretty good. Fang Quanshui says that is not needed as she trusts his judgment. She then commands him to not let any of the newcomers be lazy and mentions that they should be trained carefully. Speaking to the newcomers, Fang Dun says that Fang Quanshui will treat them all equally and that she is interested in each of them, so they must work hard. He then comments that their footsteps are not good enough, and that the way Fang Quanshui walks is much better compared to the newcomers who are so-called hunters. One guy thinks that he does not know what he's talking about and does not want to ask either, and another thinks that Fang Dun does not need to flatter her so much. As she walks away, Fang Dun tells them that Fang Quanshui is the embodiment of wisdom and beauty. At the exact same moment, she slips and almost falls down before a man catches her. She feels embarrassed, but Fang Dun says that she did this on purpose as she is afraid of being too perfect, which would put a distance between her and the newcomers. And this is what was called wisdom. The head of the Fang family, Fang Daxang, waits in his office. Miss Fang runs in happily to see her father and says that he's back from Gyeonggi. He asks her who would look after all this if he didn't come back. She says that she still has to study or she won't have any specialty. Daxang asks her why she wants to go to an ordinary school when she's so well off. He even has everything organized for her. She tells him that she is just an ordinary girl and not a hunter. Fang Daxang tells her to relax and that the family business will soon be all her responsibility. He says that managers like them do not need to worry about their strength but rather their mind, making sure they can convince people. He also says that he has already found support candidates for her, and Master Fang Mang and Fang Jia would help her with it. She sheepishly says that she would see. He then tells her that he heard that she was interested in someone recently and sent Fang Dun to find him. He advises her that Fang Dun is scary and so she shouldn't send him to meet people as he would scare them away. She says that Fang Dun was the one who said he would go, and he had even sent a D-tier creature to test him and Tian had been able to hold his own. She also adds that if he gets scared by Fang Dun then he is not worth it anyway. But Fang Quanshui has a feeling that there's more to Tian than meets the eye. She is excited to see what surprises he has in store for her.